Okay, Mr. Watson here, and in this video we're going to look at Chelladurai multi-dimensional model of leadership. Now this is the most popular view of leadership because it's interactionist. It's that people learn to be leaders through social learning and interactions with their environment. Okay, so it's not one-dimensional. You are able to change depending on the situation. So let's take a look at the model. Again, just saying that this model argues that leadership style will vary depending on the characteristics of the athletes and the constraints of the situation. So I'll put the model up, and obviously, initially it can be quite intimidating, lots of boxes, lots of arrows. However, it's much simpler than you think. So on the left there, we've got antecedents. These are otherwise known as factors that affect leadership. So you've got situational, leader, and member characteristics. In the middle, you've got leader behavior. Okay, so required, preferred, and what they actually do. And then at the end, you've got consequences. Okay, performance and satisfaction. Now, the more the elements of this model match each other, the more effective the leadership is likely to be. So if the leadership characteristics and the qualities, if they're what is needed and what is wanted, people are more likely to follow the leader. So just the more matches we get in this, it's going to link to a higher level of performance from the group as well as satisfaction. Okay, so let's just look at it in a little bit more detail. So situational characteristics. Now, this is things such as, are you playing strong opposition, weak opposition? So how difficult is the task in hand? What size group have you got? Have you got a group of 5? Have you got a group of 15? What's the nature of the activity? Is it safe? Is it dangerous? Okay, what does it involve? And the time available to complete the activity. Okay, leader characteristics. So the leader's level of experience. Have they been doing it for years? Are they relatively new? What's their personality like? Okay, are they task or social orientated? What's their skill level like as a coach, as a leader? And then we have member characteristics. So are your team experienced? What's the gender? How old are they? Are they motivated? What's their ability? And what are their personality? Are they anxious? Are they calm? Okay, so that's the antecedents, that's the factors that affect. Let's take a look at the leader's behavior, that middle part of the model, so the required behavior. So this is the behavior required by the situation or the task. So e.g., the coach may need to give instructions quickly during a timeout as the time is limited. So the situational characteristics there is being determined. We don't have much time, so that's what is required. Actual behavior, this is what the leader actually does in a situation. So you might have an idea in your head, but you might not go with it. Okay, so it's what you actually do. So the coach issues directions in an effective, clear manner. So this is often determined by the experience of the coach. So the more experienced you are, you know what to say, you know how to deliver messages in a shorter period of time and much clearer, just as one example. And then preferred behavior, this is what the group want depending on the skills and goals. So a team which is task orientated will want clear instructions about the task in hand. A team which would be person orientated, okay, they want to get to know the coach. They're going to want that social support during the activity. Okay, so in a nutshell, okay, what you should be remembering from this model is, and I'm going to go through a full example, but the more the leader's actual behavior matches the expectations and preferences of the members of the group and the specific demands of the situation, the greater the group's satisfaction, enjoyment, and performance. So again, the more things that match in this model, the better the performance and the more satisfaction the group will have. Okay, so let's take a look at an example. We've got an under 11 boys football team playing its first match of the season. Many boys are new to the club, and for a few it's their first experience. Okay, so let's take a look. The situational characteristics, it's going to be a difficult task, okay? They've never, it's their, for a few, it's their first experience. It's a new team. Many players are going to be learning to gel together for the first time, and it's actually in the season. It's a competitive game, so that's the situation. The leader is experienced and he's person orientated. So that's what the leader is like. That's his characteristics. He's been coaching under 11 boys football for 10 years, and he's a people's person. He looks at developing them relationships. And then the member characteristics, as we know, they're a young team and they're inexperienced for a lot. It's their first experience, okay? So a young team and they're new, okay? So what would the required behaviour be here? So as you see, situational characteristics got that horizontal arrow straight across, and it's also slightly affected by the member characteristics. What is required here? Do not create pressure to win. Let them practice working as a team. Let them practice skills they may have and just create that non-pressured environment, okay? Just let them enjoy it, let them play. That's what's required here, okay? What do they prefer? They prefer a coach that's encouraging and supportive. They're inexperienced. They don't want to be shouted at if they start losing. They just want to be encouraged to try their best and be supported by the coach. Now, as we know, we do have an experienced coach who is person orientated. So the actual behaviour we get, he has a positive attitude towards the team and he creates an emotionally safe environment. The environment he's created is that you going out there to play football and enjoy yourselves. Okay? And then as a result, the boys put 100% effort into the game and love the experience. So as you can see, everything here matches. It's positive. Now, what we call this is congruent. Okay? They coincide exactly. It's like an exact match. This is like a perfect scenario. Okay? Now, there's also another example in your textbooks, and it's used through outdoor rock climbing. Rock climbing is a common one used in exams to explain this model, just because you have things like, oh, the leader could be autocratic because there's danger involved, etc. They need clear rules, so it's quite another one. But have a read through the book and you'll see that example. Okay, I'm just going to finish with a little table here. Okay, but before we move to that table, I just want to emphasize, if you just follow the arrows that are in bold, this is much simpler, this model, than you think. Okay, you should understand each characteristics, and it's fairly easy to follow. So just going to finish off with a table though, what will tell us if there isn't exact matches. So with that first row there in the table, got congruent, an exact match. They coincide exactly. So the actual leader behaviour is the required behaviour to complete the task, and it's also the type of leadership preferred by the group. Then you're getting high performance, effective performance, and high satisfaction. They think they've done well and they feel good about it. Now let's look at an example of incongruence, like only a degree. So the actual leader behaviour is the required behaviour to complete the task successfully, but it is not the type of leadership that is preferred by the group. So in that instance, the group will perform effectively because they know clearly what they have to do. They wanted a bit more involvement from the coach, so their satisfaction of the group members will be low. Okay, an example of this is managers in football putting on, some players want to attack, they want to express themselves, but they have to play in this defensive tactic. They win the game 1-0, so the job's done, but they've left feeling, didn't actually enjoy that game. I wanted to attack, I wanted to express myself. Okay, and then on the switch side of that, in the final row, more incongruence. The actual leader behaviour is not the required behaviour to complete the task successfully, but is the type of leadership that is preferred by the group. So the group will perform ineffectively, but the satisfaction of the group members will be high. They've been given freedom to explore. They haven't got the result. But what this model says is that the longer these two rows go on with the incongruence, eventually that leadership, you can't sustain it. It will break down eventually if you keep on having a team with low satisfaction. Eventually, they might leave the team or stop participating in that activity. And even though they'll have high satisfaction in the end group, eventually, what this model says is that the losses and the ineffective performances will mount up and start to have some effect. So, trying to get as many matches in this model as possible is key. So, I hope that was a good example for you. Allows you to understand the model a little bit more. You don't need to panic about this model. Start with following them horizontal arrows and you won't go wrong. So you've got an example in the book and an example here in the video. Okay, thank you.